All right, shameless plug time. That Nordic scoop right there, Nordic shovel, Alpine shovel, goes by several names. Here's some free advertising for you folks, but this particular beast has saved us a lot of time and energy and is part of my morning routine nowadays. We're pretty regularly getting a couple inches of snow every couple days at least, and since we're still doing a lot of constructions type stuff, building the awnings, installing the wood stove, all that kind of stuff, the movement around the structure has been pretty challenging. The scoop has kind of saved our lives. So my morning routine at this point is coming out and starting to scoop around different things. So wherever my workspace is and the vehicles, I make sure the vehicles are uncovered and go around the vehicles. And the car tends to be closer to the house. And then I have a little path that goes over to the truck. And then it goes around the truck. And then you have to have somewhere to scoop that stuff and move it off. Well, here's the funny part. And that is, we've got this nice embankment that we just keep pushing everything over. And I had a little bit of forethought in regards to pushing all this snow off here. And that is, as it goes off, we won't know exactly where the edge is. And I had some, not really survey stakes, but I was using them kind of like survey stakes and leveling marks and stuff like that. And so I planted those right on the edge of the embankment. So this gives you an idea of how much snow we have moved, because that line of flagged stakes right there was right on the edge of the embankment. I mean, it wasn't necessarily just a flat drop off. Well, further along it was. But so driving in here now, if you weren't paying attention, you could very easily go off of thinking that the level spot was solid, and it is not, because once you go past those stakes, it is no man's land out there. You can kind of see Kimber's a little deep right there, but if I were to walk out there, especially a little further out, I would be post-holing probably up to my knee or my thighs. So as we move snow and we go push it out there, we tentatively take a couple steps and kind of stomp the snow ahead of us, and then dump the snow. And then the next time we do it, we take another tentative step a little further out until most of that's actually fairly compact from a walking standpoint. We can walk on most of that, but there's that occasional spot where we post hole down to our thighs, and that's not very fun, especially if we don't have our gaiters on. But that's kind of my morning routine. Get the scoop, make some paths, make sure the vehicles are uncovered. I don't want to have to stop and take time to sweep off the vehicles if there's an emergency, whether we need to leave for somebody else's purpose, or if I happen to hurt myself constructing something and Tara has to get me down to the hospital because the ambulances aren't going to get up here. But so everything's prepped and ready to go. We move snow into certain spots. Oh, there's another spot. This is where the septic field will be, the yard. And not that you can see it now. I mean, you can see it with that stake there and my cart that I built a couple years ago. That thing, the top of it with it leaning back like that, is probably about 2.5 feet up. So there's almost 2.5 feet of snow burying that right there, because partially because of snow that's been accumulating, and partially stuff, that's where we've been pushing all of our excess snow. That vertical back there with all the flagging on it, that's actually gives me an idea. I was using that along with the one off in the distance there, so I can accurately design my septic field and know what the elevation was foot by foot by foot. So each one of those flags represents a foot height. There's a green one on top. You can just barely see the green one on the bottom, so there's 5 feet between those two, and there was at least 2 feet. I think there were 2 flags underneath that green one on the bottom, so that are buried now. So we're getting a really good feel of how our yard's going to look level, but it's deceptive, because if you were to walk out there, again, you'd be post-holing in it. We amuse ourselves by throwing Kimber's stick out into the distance and watching him plow through that One of these days he's just going to disappear. He has a tendency to, if I throw the stick beyond that pile over there, he's got a little path through there and he'll just dive right through there. So it's a lot of fun. I like the snow. I've come to the conclusion that my snow scoop is now my new zen. I've always enjoyed just sort of mowing the lawn and just losing myself in it, and being systematic in regards to mowing the lawn. And this, in some ways, this is almost a little more satisfying because you get to create these interesting paths, and as long as you're careful about it, as the snow accumulates, assuming you don't clean that up or the dog destroys it, you've got these kind of neat little pathways that go around everywhere. So anyways, that's my morning. That's what it takes. And that's my friend. Homesteader out.